I know we were to talk about creating healthy boundaries in life, which we'll still do tomorrow. But when I got up today after my meditation, I was guided again to lead a very different topic, which is allowing your thoughts to come from love, not fear. I trust the universe, and maybe this is what we all need right now to operate out of love instead of the fears we are all feeling. I'll give you a small example. Even 2 years ago, my daughter, who lives in Australia, declared that she wanted to go off for 6 months to volunteer in South America, including Pablo Escobar's Pueblo. I responded with fear. I think we are subconsciously wired with it. And I said, honey, why all the way to South America? Come to India. There's enough slums here. It took me dozens of conversations with this child of the universe to realize that actually from love flows peace and joy, and from fear comes anger, hate, anxiety, and guilt. And of course, she went to South America and did a fantastic job in the slums. Now, sometimes fear is actually founded and real, and it's not imagined or perceived. And for that, I'm going to share another client story. So it's story time today. I will call her Mary. Had a little lamb. No, she had a little dog called Bagel. Rewind a month ago. A client or I had worked with on grief recommended that she talk to me. We made our first 30-minute appointment on the website. We talked, and I found she was depressed, lonely, no friends because her husband discouraged her. Her marriage of 12 years was a physically abusive marriage. And we could sense her fears. What if it's worse outside the marriage? What if it's going to go on forever? And she regretted it. Now, on the second call, I led her through a session, Braving Your Fears, which is a huge exercise in our lives. In the third session, I used a technique called looking into the future. So allow me 2 extra minutes today, if you will, to share this effective tool. I asked Mary to imagine for a moment that the dust had settled. It was a year later, and she and her husband were separated. She was okay, he was okay, and all was well. And against that backdrop, I asked her to imagine, what do you think is happening in your life? And she closed her eyes and her face lit up and she said, oh, I started dating again. And he has invited me on a picnic. We're sitting by the river, drinking from a flask. And she was glowing. I could see that the picture she had created was a space of love. Now, the other side of coin, then I said, okay, let's clear that image for a moment and we are going to do the same thing. Fast forward a year, you're still with your husband and the situation hasn't changed at all. Immediately, her body language changed. She slumped, the color drained from her, and I could see that she's seeing and feeling the depressed thought. And she said, oh my God, Pinku, but it's awful and it's worse and I can't stand it. When she opened her eyes, I asked her what she preferred, and the decision will always be hers. We, as facilitators and mentors, know better than to lead a decision. Our role is only to show the two sides of the coin. She realized that if she made this big decision of leaving with love for herself, for allowing her husband to lead a life and find someone that he could correlate to, it wasn't as scary a decision. And guess what? Last week, she had an amicable talk with her husband, and they're both ready to exit the marriage amicably with no fears and bitterness. And she sounded happy and relieved. Kahlil Gibran, one of my absolute favorites, has said, ever has been that love knows not its depth until the hour of separation. But I think she will be fine, irrespective. So, my question to you, if you could literally reach into yourself and remove all your fears, every one of them, how different would your life be? Think about it. Wherever you are, love you and stay in love and not fear. And I will see you tomorrow with our discussion on how to create boundaries with people who are going to be in your life no matter what. Take care now.